Welcome to the PrepZone Show 2023, presented by Bevill State. I am Johnathan Bentley, joined with my co-host, Zach McCullar. Zach, it's another kind of up and down week, I guess, of high school football around here.
There were a lot of good games. Unfortunately, none of them worked out in favor of our local teams. You had 4 games decided by one possession, and it was all of our teams that lost, which you don't like to see that.
Yeah, Winston County Schools had a bad
it was
week.
a down week.
Except for Lynn, the game you were at.
Of course, Lynn rolled out in the rain and Sumiton Christian, 36-0 at halftime.
Yeah, that was kind of a 2-quarter game pretty much,
basically.
Right? And now we did have Dora win.
Right.
The teams we expect to win are now Dora and Oakman and maybe Corner.
Lynn and Corner, yeah.
Lynn and Corner. Everybody else kind of having a down year so far. Let's go over some of these games real quick. What about Dora?
Yeah, Dora looked very good against Haleyville, 42-20. Played well, and this sets up a massive matchup this week with Corner, which is going to be a fun game.
Yeah, biggest game of the year so far. And Corner, these games were kind of similar, where Dora was losing. Dora was actually down at the half, and then just came alive.
Yeah, they turned it on at the end.
And Corner was up by a touchdown, ends up winning by, almost 30 points. So you've got a prolific offense against, I guess, Dora's defenses.
Dora's got a really good defense.
It's all the way around for Dora.
Right. Dora's got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. They've even got a talented kicker. I mean, Dora can do pretty much anything. And Corner, don't sell them short. They have a lot of talent as well. So it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, because, Corner hasn't had a test really yet.
Right.
This is going to be a pretty good test.
Definitely.
All right, so we'll run through some of these scores. Oakman beat Tarrant 40-12. The interesting thing there, it rained the whole game, which we were at games that kind of rained off and on, but it poured the whole game at Oakman.
It was a downpour at Sumiton Christian before the game and right at halftime. But other than that, it was just kind of a drizzle to no rain. But, yeah.
But Oakman had a guy run for 4 touchdowns. They just kept it on the ground. Yeah, Dickerson had 4 touchdowns, 40-12. Fayette County beat Carbon Hill 40-0. No surprise there, I guess.
Yeah, Fayette County's just they're in a league of their own, and they're still going to finish third in that region.
They're pretty good. Yeah, they're in a tough spot. Northside beat Curry 55-14. Curry got 2 long touchdown passes.
They did. They were
some positives there.
Curry was able to string together a little bit of offense. Maybe there's some momentum.
I hope
Maybe.
So. The game you were at, Lynn, 36-0. That's pretty much all you can say about that. Sulligent beat Winston County 34-28. I really was hoping Winston County would win that game. Sulligent's a lot better this year, obviously.
Oh, yeah, Sumiton is a very talented team. They're going to make a long playoff run, I think.
They didn't even make the playoffs last year.
No, they went 5-5, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were in a tough region.
And now Winston County, they got some big games coming up. They could still make the playoffs, but that is a very tough region. Hackleburg beat Addison. And if you'll listen to the Addison people, they will say they cheated. They were cheated down the stretch.
How
Hackleburg
so?
got Hackleburg scored late.
Oh.
That's it. That's all. That was the cheating. You can't do that.
No, you can't score a touchdown like
This isn't Hamilton, so Hamilton, yeah, over the years. And then, of course, Colbert Heights beat Meek 30-28. It's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, that is a 3A school in Colbert Heights. Granted, they were winless. Meek has started to struggle a little bit, so Tigers definitely need to rebound.
Yeah, the good thing it's a non-region game. I mean, they scored 28 in the second half.
Yeah,
but they had 0 in the first. So
yeah, when you can play only the second half and not the first half, it makes things interesting. But also, games can be out of reach from the start, and you're fighting, but you can never get there, and it's painful to watch.
That's what happened. You're down 2 touchdowns, and it's just hard to come back. Dora kind of was like that, down a touchdown, but then they just came alive.
Dora's got the firepower to come back like that.
Against anybody around here. All right, so let's kind of talk about the winless teams around here. We're almost, for some schools, we're almost halfway through.
Yeah, for teams that
this week.
Yeah, this is going to be the 5th game of the season for a lot of our schools.
For Cordova and some of these other teams, Carbon Hill, Curry, not Carbon Hill, but Curry.
Carbon Hill took a bye week early,
and Jasper as well. So our winless teams right now are Jasper, Sumiton Christian, Curry, Carbon Hill, and Cordova. It's a lot.
Yes.
I always say the county is better. Everything's better when Cordova's good.
Right.
And Jasper, too, really.
And, in recent years, Cordova's been fairly down. Last year was 5-5, so not a terrible season.
Very competitive 5-5.
Yeah, but they've been, in the past 1-9, 2-8, like in the past 5 years. So they're going down. And like you said, where Cordova goes, the rest of the county seems to go, except for Dora.
It's always better when Cordova's good. Do you see any of these teams? I kind of did this before we picked games because it would kind of ruin it.
Yeah.
Do you see any of these teams winning this week?
Yeah, I can see Cordova winning. I think they could definitely get off the Ophir trail here. Also, I reckon there's a decent chance of Sumiton Christian winning because they got Brilliant, though that's going to be tough. So if you'd have to ask me who do I think has the best chance to win, I'd have to go with Cordova.
Yeah. See, that's what I circled. It's Cordova.
Yeah, I circled them too.
Oh, and now I would also say Jasper. I know it really. If you saw last week's game, you probably don't think so. And Winona's 3-1, but Jasper really. I mean, there were play here and there from winning that game last week. That would have changed everything. I don't know. It's on the road, but yeah, Cordova's definitely first on that. And Carbon Hill and Curry will be very, very difficult.
Yeah, Carbon Hill's got Oatman. That's going to be tough because, Oatman has just always been really a power. What's that playoff streak at now? I mean,
it goes back. I think it's 12 or 13 years.
12 or 13 years, which is, when a team's got something like that going, it's hard to get in the way of that. And with this region that Oatman's in, they have to have every single region win that they can get. So basically it's a must-win game, as was Midfield and Tarrant in the past 2 weeks. So basically, Oatman wins this, and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We've already come to
unless something
time.
Absolutely crazy happens.
Right.
Yeah, this is what did it for them last year, winning this game right here. They didn't win a game after this last year.
And they still made the playoffs.
6 straight. But this is a different year, and they're a lot better. They're a year older. And, that was kind of a building year last year to this, and I think they'll continue to. They got a great coaching staff.
Oh, they do. It's just meticulously assembled, and they've got a lot of talent on that roster. Extremely talented. I think that they're going to be in for something very big.
Yeah. Ryan Hall's doing a great job over there. Your old coach. Okay, let's get to this week's games. There's some. Well, let's start with a big game. We talked about it a little bit before. Corner at Dora. How do you see this going?
I see this being a really good game. I think it's going to be back and forth. Both of these teams have good offenses, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's high scoring. But I think Corner's going to win because they've just looked so dominant offensively. I mean, you don't see an offense dominate like that in high school football. Granted, they've had an easy schedule, but still, I'm very impressed. Dora's defense, I know, can stop Corner. Will they? I don't know. This is pretty much a toss-up for me. But like I said, I'm going to have to go with the Yellow Jackets here.
Wow, at Dora.
At Dora. Well, they're only, 5 miles from each other?
Yeah, it's really.
So they're going to be equally represented.
Actually, they're in the city of Dora. They're in Dora city limits also. Yeah,
technically.
Even though it's in Jefferson County.
Weird things going on with the Walker County landscape
that is
down there.
I wonder if anybody there can actually tell me where Sumiton is and where Dora is.
I think it's divided by Highway 78, but I don't know. It's some technical, I don't know.
Well, I know the golf course is in Dora, and the Walmart's in Sumiton.
Right.
That's all I know.
The
rest is up for grabs.
I mean, Dora High School is only a block behind 78 on the Dora side.
It's close. Almost borders the golf course. So.
And Sumiton Christian High School is right on the highway.
Right across the street. Yeah.
They're close by.
So I took Dora.
Okay.
I've been going Dora all year, right? I jinxed them in the Winfield game. I mean, saying they would go undefeated. I'm not going to say they go undefeated in the region.
I'm giving them that positive rat poison, what I'm doing.
I mean, it's kind of it's a good matchup. I mean, Corner has scored, I think, 52. They average 52 a game. Like you said, they're not playing great teams, but they've destroyed those teams.
Right.
That's what you're supposed to do.
They've taken care of business when they should have taken care of business.
It isn't like this is like a one-possession game.
Right.
And then Dora has really – their defense has taken control the last 3 games since that Winfield game. Yeah, defense actually played decent against Winfield.
It did, yeah.
Too many mistakes.
Yeah, too many mistakes. And I was there for the Dora Aniana game, and the defense was tremendous. Yeah. I mean, you don't see defensive performances like that, especially with Aniana's high-powered offense.
And yet you picked Corner.
Yes, I did.
Wow, you think a lot of Corner.
I do. I really think.
I love that logo, the Corner logo. Right there.
We got it back.
I love it.
Right behind me. It's a
one
nice
of my
logo.
favorite ones. They have a really good quarterback. I wrote down some of these matchups. It's Brendan Connor for Corner, and Keyshawn Pryor, and they both lead their teams. I mean, they throw the ball a lot, and they run. They run the ball.
Tremendous players. They could both, wind up at a small college. I definitely think.
I could see that. All right, so let's jump to some less intriguing games. We got 2 games Thursday. Jasper at Winona. Kind of talked about that. Winona's 3-1.
They're 3-1. It's kind of a weird 3-1. They've won what they should. They've lost what they should. And I think they should win this. So I'm going to go with the Winona Dragons.
Yeah, me too. Had Jasper won last week, it might be different. But
Yes.
Winona barely beat Carver, but that was on the road last week, so I'm also going Winona. What about Greene County, Winston County? They're both 2-2.
They're both 2-2, but it's in Double Springs, and I trust Winston County when they're playing at home. Of course, that East Lawrence game earlier at home was just a weird game. So I'm going to say Winston County is back over 500 here. I think they're going to beat Greene County.
Seems like they're home a lot. Winston County.
It does.
They haven't had many road games. Well, and then the road game at Addison, so they haven't had to go too far. All right, so we'll go into Friday games. We mentioned this a little bit. Hamilton 0-3 at Cordova 0-4.
Yeah, Hamilton's 0-3 has been a really unimpressive 0-3. They've been demolished a few times. Cordova, they've been in most of the games they've played for a little while at least in the first half.
The Oakman game, same way.
Yes, so Cordova's 0-4 is not as bad as Hamilton's 0-3. So I think Cordova's going to make that 0-4 a 1-4 this week.
I agree. Hamilton is 1-19 in the last 20, which is hard to believe because I remember the days when they were really, when this was a huge game.
Oh, yes.
Back in the day, maybe 10 years ago, this game was a monster game.
This was, massive playoff
for the
implications. Definitely.
All right, kind of mentioned this one too. Oakman at Carbon Hill. See anything crazy there?
Yeah, well, Carbon Hill, last year their best game was against Oakman. Sometimes they will tend to put their best fight out against the Wildcats. But I think Oakman's going to be way too much for the Bulldogs. I think it might be a good game for the first quarter and a half. Then Oakman's depth is really going to, start pouring on top of Carbon Hill. And I think it's going to get the margin of victory is going to widen.
Yeah, I agree with that. So we both go Oakman. Oak Grove 3-0, kind of surprising. At Curry 0-4.
Because Oak Grove, they've always been that decent team. They're going to go 3-7, 4-6. Well, now they're 3-0.
Yeah,
and they actually have a good chance to have a winning record in the playoff. So
they haven't done that in a long time.
No, they're starved for success in Oak Grove, and they're finally getting a little taste of it. I think they're going to continue it against Curry.
They squeaked out last week at Hamilton, which we kind of talked about. It's hard to win at. So, yeah, I think if they win this game, that'll match last year's win total already. Really good year for Oak Grove. What about Phillips at Meek? That's
going to be ugly, I think.
That should go Meek's way.
Meek is going to get revenge for their loss last week.
Yeah, they're going to be mad probably.
Oh, yes.
They just overmatched them. It's kind of the same thing here. Addison at Waterloo. I've seen Waterloo. I think they have 5 bench players.
Oof, that's
a long trip, but
I expect Jed Wilkins to wind up with 5-6 touchdowns maybe.
Yeah, it depends on how long he plays.
Yeah. They only get about a quarter.
They've had games like this, and they will disperse it.
They will.
They've had 2 or 3 games like this already. This region doesn't help anyone.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't.
I mean, you could insert a team that's really not very good in that region, and they're probably making the playoffs.
Yes, a team from like the Sumiton. What if you put Sumiton Christian in this region? They could be 4th.
They could make that 4th spot.
It's just like that.
We should be in charge of all the regions. And
yeah,
stuff.
let me make the region. Yeah, we can do it together.
Oh yes,
absolutely. We come up with some decent matchups. Holy Spirit at Lynn is kind of the same kind of deal there, even though it's a different region.
Right, I think Lynn's gonna dominate. Because,
Holy Spirit 0-4.
Yeah, Holy Spirit, they took 2 years off from football. They couldn't field a team, and I think 2021 was their first season back, and they've really struggled since then. They're trying to get the program off the ground, and a road trip to Lynn's not going to help.
No, this doesn't help them. You know who started the program at Holy Spirit? Mark Hastings was their first coach, who coaches at Lynn now, so that'll be his old team.
Ooh.
All right, last one, Sumiton Christian at Brilliant.
Yeah, this is intriguing. Brilliant's only victory was 64-0 over, I think it was Holy Spirit. One of these teams in that region is not very good. Sumiton Christian, no wins. They haven't scored in forever, it seems like. I think Brilliant's going to win, but Sumiton Christian does score touchdowns, so they're building momentum.
Yes. Let's get some positives from Sumiton Christian.
We have to have some positive thing.
Right. Yeah, I took Brilliant as well. I just, Sumiton Christian. Let's get some points. They have some wins on the schedule. I really believe that coming up.
Talladega County Central High School. That's next week, isn't it?
That'll be a great chance.
Yeah, Sumiton Christian will win that game, I think.
All right, so let's go to the top 5 this week. Pretty similar to probably last week.
Right.
Who do you have at 5th?
5th, I've got Meek. The Tigers lost last week, but they're still the most qualified team to take that 5th spot. They had a massive victory against Maplesville. So
It's hard to believe.
It is, and especially now that they're 2-2. They'll be 3-2, I think, this week, like I said. So I've got Meek at 5th.
I have a Winston County there.
Okay.
Another 2-2. You realize everybody in Winston County is 2-2 that we cover, except for Lynn, which is 2-1. But Winston County, they lost, but Sullivan's really good.
That's true.
Their losses are kind of perplexing. They had the lead on East Lawrence. They let them come back and they lost, but
In the rain,
a lot of turnovers, and then they've been that close, kind of like Cordova last year.
Right.
That close. What about number 4?
Number 4, I've got Oatman. I think that the Wildcats have a really talented team. It's young, but not as young as last year. They've built momentum since they lost to Sullivan. They are building a lot of momentum. I think Oatman's going to be a dangerous team down the road.
Yeah, I like the way they're playing. I also have Oatman at 4. It's weird to have county teams in here. Last year we hardly had anybody in the county in this.
Yeah. Well, you got a couple of county teams
Yeah,
in here.
Oatman and Dora. Yeah, definitely lead the way of the county. What about number 3?
Third, I've got Lynn. I think they won 36-0 against Sumiton Christian. It was 36-0 at the half. They played 8-minute quarters with a somewhat running clock in the second half. Trying to get out of there before the rain. Lynn did have a few penalties, a couple of mishaps that they could work on. But other than that, I think Lynn's in good shape. I've got him sitting at 3rd.
Yeah, I do too. This is very similar so far. Yeah, I mean, what can you say about Lynn? They're winning the games they're supposed to. They almost beat Alabama Christian this year.
Yeah.
This team's loaded.
It's a very talented team.
Yeah, if they don't go at least as far as they did last year, I'd be kind of surprised. Which I think was the 3rd round.
Right.
Yeah, Coosa Christian beat them. What about number 2?
Number 2, I've got Dora. And it's
knew
not
you were
for a
going
lack of talent, not for a lack of coaching. Dora has all of those in abundance. I've got them 2nd. They lost to Winfield on the road, I think.
Yes.
That's why they're not number 1. If they'd have beaten Winfield, they'd be number 1 by a long shot here. But I'm going to put them at 2. Reward the teams we have that are undefeated, because after this week, you're thinking that this team won't be undefeated after this week that I'm going to have at number 1. So we'll see how it works out.
So I have Corner.
I figured you would.
Yes, the Switch. I do like their logo the most, but yeah, still, they're really having a good year. I didn't know what to expect with a new coach, and they lost that running back that was so great. Gavin Brown graduated, and I was like, well, that was like 90% of their offense, and here they are doing just as well and taking care of business. So yeah, they're really impressive with the new coach over there, Trent Campbell. And number 1?
Number 1's going to be Corner for me. For all the reasons you just said, their offenses look good, their defenses look good. And I've stressed this, they have not played talented competition. But any competition that you can dominate is good. Because if you don't dominate the teams that you're supposed to, that shows you have a problem. Here I'm not seeing any problems with Corner, and maybe that's all window dressing and all false advertising and all that, but I haven't seen any major problems from the Yellow Jackets.
I haven't either. They've taken care of business, like you said. I thought that Cordova game was going to be a little tricky, and it was maybe for around a half, and then they just took care of it. They just kept scoring.
And Cordova's got a good defense. To be honest, the Cordova defense has looked decent all year, and then 55 points Corner put up on them.
Nick Dyer, Brody Dunlap, they have a new running back, Unruh, I think is his name. And Dora's got their hands full. My number 1 team, Dora, underlined right there. They did lose to Winfield, and I'm just kind of throwing that out the window because it was so awful. That. It was just hard to watch. They kept messing up, and ended up losing by, I think, a touchdown.
Well, 3 points, really, 23-20.
But maybe it helped them. Yeah, it was a field goal. That's right.
I think it did help them.
People have said that they were hoping it was going to help them, and maybe it has.
I will say this. After this game, I would definitely not be surprised if Dora wins out. If they win this game, Dora's going to finish 9-1. If they lose it, 8-2, because the only other test on their schedule, Northside, having a down year.
Yeah, Oak Grove could be in that spot this year.
That's true.
That could be interesting. But hopefully this is for 1 and 2. That's what I hope. Both at home in the playoffs, that'd be awesome.
Good.
Corner has a lot of tough games, though. Haleyville's not bad either. All right, so we'll jump to college now. Alabama and Auburn, I guess it was kind of a blah week last week for both of them.
I don't know. Auburn, they look good just looking at the box score.
He threw a couple interceptions. One of those wasn't his fault, Peyton Thorne. Auburn quarterback. Okay, so but they both face big games this week. I know you'll probably have these later, so we won't make you pick them. But
Appreciate that.
Okay, so answer this question. All right, Alabama won 17-3. It was really more of a 10-3 game.
It was. Alabama had to score that last touchdown to make it look.
And
good.
I think Saban was just going to, you know what? We're starting with playing these two guys, and whatever happens, happens.
Right.
So I'm not really taking that seriously. But all right, this is the worst Alabama team since what year?
My life.
In your lifetime?
2008 was the last time an Alabama teams have been this bad. Just
2008.
And maybe that team was even better. I don't know. And I'm not talking about final result because, of course, we don't know what this season holds in terms of talent. You know, I heard you compare this team to the 2015 Alabama team.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, the 2015 Alabama team had a guy named Calvin Ridley.
It was loaded, actually.
It was a talented team. It struggled early, but then it found its rhythm. This team doesn't have really anybody offensively. I mean, your best running back is Roydell Williams. Your backup, Jace McClellan, has really struggled this year.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of quarterback, you don't have anything really that's shown itself. Milroe had a good first game against Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
He looked good against Texas compared to what we saw last week with everybody else.
It's a good thing he played against Texas.
It is. If it had been Buckner or Simpson playing against Texas, it would have been 45-3.
I'm thinking Simpson he can be good, but not yet.
If Simpson's offensive line would learn how to block,
yeah,
he may have
a lot of
looked good.
troubles.
He may have thrown a couple of touchdown passes for all we know if they would have blocked for him.
So it's been, in other words, it's been a while, but it's early, so we don't even know. This team could catch fire.
They've done it before. Win a national championship, dominate the whole way out.
You did predict them to win it this year, right?
I did, with one loss too.
It's still on the table.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'll miss it. That'll be interesting.
I will.
Auburn is only 3-0 for the first time since 2014. I hope that's right.
It feels like it's been since.
They've had a lot of early hard games.
That's true.
Well, Penn State.
Right.
One of them. I mean, they should have won one of those.
I think 2017, but that's right. They did have an early loss that year as well.
LSU. Yep. So it's crazy.
It is.
But they play at Texas A&M. What do you think of Jimbo Fisher? I think we kind of blasted him last year. Will we continue?
Was it his fault though? He had what was supposed to be the greatest recruiting class in the history of America. In the history,
that's correct.
In the history of all sports, he had the greatest recruiting class. Some people would say.
Yes, all the metrics showed.
And half of them are playing third string, and the other half have transferred. So, well, their quarterback Connor Wegman was part of that class.
He's not bad.
No, he's actually a very talented quarterback. Petrino at offensive coordinator, it hadn't been terrible. They scored 33 points against Miami.
Yeah, that is true. Defense was bad. Would you rather have Jimbo or Freeze?
Ooh.
The two coaches going against each other this week.
Jimbo's obviously proved he can do it. He's got a national championship ring that he owes to Jameis Winston and Kelvin Benjamin. Sorry to remind you. I know they keep you.
I never watched the replay. I don't know.
Don't worry.
I'm trying to forget.
I've never watched the replay of that 2016 championship game. Bama lost in the last play of the game, too. So, we have something in common.
Actually,
we actually have something in common. I don't know. I'd have to take – this is just by coaching ability. Ooh.
You know I'm going Freeze.
I know you are.
Obviously. Even if he struggles at Auburn, I just don't like Jimbo.
Because Jimbo has shown he can win. Hugh Freeze really hasn't won a lot. He had success with Liberty back in the COVID year when they were playing.
Ole Miss a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, and then Ole Miss, like you said, a long time ago. That hadn't been that long ago.
I know. Well,
it feels like it.
It does.
But
a couple of coaches ago.
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
So
I wouldn't want either of them. Let's put it that way.
If Alabama came and that was the two finalists, you would be like, okay, who's third, right?
Yes, Sarkisian. That's who. If Saban were to retire today, I'd want Sarkisian.
Yeah, I think that would be the way to go today.
Right.
Exactly. All right. So, you got any games for us to pick?
I do. I've got
including maybe these last two we were talking about.
Yes, I do. I've got 5 games, but all 5 are massive. They could have playoff implications for all we know. All right. First game. 19th ranked Colorado on the road to Eugene, Oregon, playing number 10, the Ducks of Oregon. Oregon's a 21-point favorite.
Wow.
That's shocking.
That's a lot.
Last time Colorado was a 21-point underdog, they won. Do you think Colorado does the same thing?
Was that last week?
That was TCU.
Okay.
2 weeks ago.
No, I hate to say I'm ready for Colorado to lose. I like Deion Sanders, who was a former Brave, you know. you think back, it's weird that he played baseball and he's a great coach. And he's a great coach, and people kind of, they're struggling to beat Colorado State. I know it's a rivalry game and all this, but
your best player got taken out by a cheap shot.
Yeah, that was a cheap shot, and I'm glad Dion came out and spoke against the people. Yeah. The guy got death threats.
He did, which is ridiculous. That's tasteless.
And Dion said it was ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, they're 3-0, and they keep storming the field. If I was 3-0 too at Colorado, I would also storm the field every win.
I can understand why they would do it. They've never seen success.
No, never.
Students.
One game last year.
Golly.
So I'm taking Oregon though. I think this is they finally get a really, really good test.
I think Oregon's going to win as well, but it won't be by 21. It'll be touchdown, maybe 10 points. I think it'll be an interesting game, but I do pick Oregon. All right, here's an extremely intriguing game. Number 4, Florida State, going to Death Valley to face an unranked Clemson team in the rain.
Wow, unranked.
Death Valley.
Last time you could say that.
Was it 2013 or 2014?
It was a long time
Clemson
ago.
Was unranked. Ridiculous.
It was a really long time ago.
And Clemson's not that terrible. They lost to Duke. Maybe Duke's a good team for all we know.
Wow, that's a bad loss. So, that's what was the line in that one?
I think Florida State's 3.5.
It seems kind of low, but I'm taking Florida State straight up.
I can see why you do that, but I got to pick Clemson here just because Florida State primed for an upset. They really got a gift from the referees last week as Boston College did not pull that face mask. That cost them the game. The refs threw a flag for a face mask at the end of the Boston College-Florida State game. Gave Florida State the first down. They took a knee. Game was over. I watched the replay multiple times. I never saw a face mask.
Wow. And that really 30-28, I think was the score?
30, somewhere around in there.
That was shocking.
It was. And Florida State blew a 2-touchdown lead in that game.
Maybe they were looking ahead. That's it.
They may have been. Looking ahead to an unranked team, though.
Well, it's Clemson.
That's true. It's Clemson.
And Clemson owns them.
That's true.
And so that's a good pick.
And Clemson will own them again, I think.
It's a good pick.
All right, so you have Florida State. I have Clemson. Yes. I still can't get over them being unranked. But for the time being, I'll have to pick maybe the biggest game of the season so far besides Alabama-Texas.
Door corner. We already talked about that.
I'm joking. I know you are. Ohio State, Notre Dame. Yeah. At Notre Dame. Top 10 matchup. Do you see Notre Dame pulling an upset?
I don't like Notre Dame either. I don't even know the reason why Auburn's never played them. But it seems like they're always soft. When in games like this.
But they've never had Sam Hartman before this.
No, that's legit. That is a legitimate concern for Ohio State. And it's at home. Boy, it's going to be a tough ticket. But, yeah, I'm going straight line here. Whoever's favored, pretty much. That's my team, Ohio State.
Ohio State's a 3-point favorite, so you're going with the Buckeyes. I'm not. I'm going Notre Dame. I'm picking the Fighting Irish to pull an upset here. And
it'd be a big win. Be a program-changing time for this year.
It could. And then, bold prediction looking down the line. I'm looking at the schedule, some tough games for Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. They'll lose to USC, I think. And then they'll be 11-1, but because they don't have a conference championship, they missed out on the playoffs, and all their fans are mad for the next year. That's what's probably going to happen.
Join a conference and this
goes away.
Join a conference,
and if you join the ACC, Notre Dame, you could probably beat Florida State.
You could at least be second,
and
have a good chance at the playoff.
They've been to the ACC once in the COVID year, and they made the conference championship game and made the playoffs, and then got drummed 2 games in a row. Exactly. But that's beside the point.
Right.
So I've got Notre Dame. You've got Ohio State. Mm-hmm. We disagree once again.
A lot.
All right, here's something that we may or may not disagree on. Auburn, Texas A&M. We touched on it earlier. Do you think Auburn pulls an upset?
I don't. I don't. I haven't really seen anything to make me think that. And Texas is really good throwing the ball. And Auburn does have some good DBs. Don't get me wrong. The guy has 3 interceptions. 3 in 3 games. But I don't know. It's a tough place, and they used to always win there.
That's right.
But they won last year. They kind of stole it at home, and they're not quite up to snuff for this type of road environment, I don't believe.
I don't think Texas A&M's got anything going for it. It's funny. You're the Auburn fan. You're picking against them. I'm the Alabama fan. I've got to pick Auburn here. I think Auburn wins, but
I hope so. I hope you're right.
I know you do. I know you do.
I wouldn't.
I hope I'm wrong, to be perfectly honest. But I've got Auburn winning this just because I can't trust Texas A&M. They've got Connor Wigman at quarterback, and there's just not a whole lot around him. And
Yeah, they haven't really played anyone either.
Defensively, Texas A&M is terrible.
Well, they did play Miami, and boy, they got
did not
exposed.
work out. That was
awful
terrible.
for them.
So I've got Auburn winning. Final game. It's a big game for both of these teams. Ole Miss undefeated. They're ranked 15th. Alabama has one loss, ranked 13th. They dropped 3 spots even though they won. In one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen from Alabama against a bad opponent, too.
It's hard to watch.
It was painful. And then with an hour-and-a-half weather delay sandwiched in between, it was
just a bad night. No.
All right, Ole Miss on the road in Tuscaloosa. Alabama is a 7-point favorite.
Seems like a lot, but
it does. Do you think Ole Miss pulls an upset?
I don't. I think Alabama just finally puts it together. And, boy, Kiffin wants this worse than anything.
Oh, he does.
Though.
This is what his season hinges on, beating Alabama.
That's a really big line.
It is 7.
I just don't see Alabama losing. I don't know why. I'm not picking against them.
Right.
No.
I've got to agree with you.
It's at home.
And it's Ole Miss.
They did lose to Texas at home. I know that's true. But
if this were a road trip to Texas A&M like they've got in 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks, then you'd think, oh man, Alabama's in trouble. If this was a tougher team than Ole Miss, but Ole Miss, regardless of how good they are, they can never seem to get over the hump and beat Alabama.
Right.
I think this same thing happens. I got Alabama winning, but it's going to be a close, entertaining, stressful game.
Yeah, you say that. It's like Texas A&M gets up for Alabama.
Right.
They see them as a rival for some reason. They don't see Auburn as a rival, but they see Alabama as a rival.
Texas A&M doesn't have a whole lot of rivals left.
No.
They pretty much
get Texas back.
Yeah, they abandoned
nice.
Texas. They said, the heck with Texas. We're going to the SEC. Oh, hi, Texas. Okay, we'll play you again.
They're back. Yeah, I see Alabama winning this week, though, definitely. Even though Kiffin, boy, like you said, this is a huge game for him.
It is.
Because now those assistants have started beating Saban.
Right.
Except him.
Yeah, you got Sarkisian, Kirby Smart, and Jimbo Fisher.
No. Yeah, this would be number 4. So I'm not seeing that. Not this year. And maybe never.
Yeah, maybe down the road when I'm old and gray, I hope. But not now.
Yes. That's a ways off. All right, so that wraps up our show. I'd like to thank you for Jake for producing. And if you like what you see, like and subscribe on YouTube. Even if you hate what you see, like and subscribe on YouTube. Either way, we'll see y'all next week. Thank you.
Bevill State
is your community college.
for
convenient and affordable academic transfer options.
Rewarding health science programs. High wage, high demand career tech training.
Your story starts at Bevill State.